Why hello there, viewer. Today, I'm going to talk about why everyone should stop using the word or any form of the word devalue when trying to argue a point about preserving any form of achievement in old school, and what words to use instead and why. Since the JMods decide what content gets pulled, I'll focus on them. From what I've been able to gather, when JMods hear skillers in particular argue that their favorite skills are being devalued, almost all they hear are entitled elitists think that it's not fair that other people can now catch up to them in the high scores more easily. I could be wrong about that, but if that is the case, then it's understandable why many of the mods may hold this view. Of course, we know that this is not the real reason, but it's understandable because at best there really is an element of that entitlement in parts of the skilling community, and at worst it's a contrived opinion of the Reddit hive mind, quote-unquote, to write off legitimate objections to certain updates, but is probably a combination of both. So what does Blackout suggest we do to shift the perspectives of the mods to be closer to that of our own? Well, the first thing you all can do is add this video to the mods on Twitter, because I'm not brave enough to risk being labeled as a soulless self-promoter to do that myself. But more importantly, we need to use verbiage that caters to what the mods are most interested in, which is content. For example, according to CML, Efficient Slayer takes about 300 hours to get 99 at the same time of this recording. But in December of 2014, CML had Slayer taking around 435 hours to do the same. That's 135 hours players can no longer spend on the game accomplishing this goal. Part of that difference, I'm willing to bet, is due to efficiency innovations discovered by players over time, but I'm fairly certain the bulk of that difference was generated by the many Slayer updates from Jagex, so I'll be pretty generous and estimate only 100 of those hours lost does Jagex hold the blame for. Instead of arguing that Slayer updates generally have unjustifiably devalued achievement in the skill, we could say that these updates have essentially removed or deleted 100 hours worth of content from the game, and for what content in return? A handful of superiors with a few different monsters with new areas to place a cannon or barrage? And if we assume Jagex is entirely responsible for all of that lost time, CML says it takes about 2,500 hours to do 200 mil Slayer, but in December of 2014, CML says Slayer took 5,500 hours to do 200 mil, which by the same logic, is 3,000 hours worth of Slayer content removed from the game over the last 4 years. And because we're talking about a skill, we can go further than that, and say these updates have removed game achievements and replaced them with less desirable ones, because the achievement of 99 Slayer, which had once been attainable only with 435 hours of effort, has essentially been removed from the game and replaced with an achievement that only takes 300 hours with approximately the same effort, which makes this achievement a less desirable one for any ambitious skiller or player to pursue, and the same thing can be said for 200 mil Slayer. If we use that language, then maybe the mods may consider that removing hours of gameplay from their product may not be a wise business decision, because that means players have fewer hours of content to engage in than had these updates not substantially buffed XP rates, ultimately resulting in their players on average putting in fewer hours, which is usually the opposite of what a gaming studio wants. And in addition to all of that, they're continuing to upset a large portion of one of the largest dedicated subcommunities in the game, as more and more hours worth of skilling is removed and achievements are replaced with less gratifying ones. So comment below. Please let me know if I'm onto something or if I'm completely off the mark. I hope to make videos in the future on subjects like what is the old school feel, and how to balance appealing to casual and dedicated players, and then some videos targeting a specific thing like why Zaya RC, Nightmare Zone Max Cape, and other such things are poorly designed content, and how they could be practically balanced. Please subscribe so you can be notified when all of that comes out. Thank you all for watching, hope to see you next video.